Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Pulse. I am your host Connor Sundet, and on behalf of myself and the team here at Spokane Talks, we are very happy to have you with us. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be right back after this.
Well, this is Bloomsday in Spokane. We got about 40 firefighters and their friends and family handing out 40,000 cups of water as the day goes by.
It's a very good opportunity to see the public and support them and help them out and cheer them on during Bloomsday.
It's one of the best things about Spokane is that we have these major events and the whole community comes together not just to participate but to volunteer and show that they really care about our city and making our city look great.
This type of an event really is emblematic of Spokane because so many people get involved. We have 50,000 people probably running this race. Always has been a very huge event.
Right now we're at the corner of Broadway and Nettleton. It's the last water station before the finish, so people are pretty much dehydrated by the time they get to us. They really need our water.
The water stations are a vital part, especially on warm days like today. It's real important that we have the volunteers to help with that. Without the volunteers, Bloomsday wouldn't exist.
All up and down the course, there are people that are involved in this celebration. It really is a celebration of what Spokane's all about.
At Wendell, you are respected, you are valued, and we have an experience tailored to fit your lifestyle.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Gina.
And we bought 3 cars from Wendell Motors. Throughout the day, I just kind of would get updates, texts, phone calls, and I was actually really impressed with how my wife was taken care of.
People should shop at Wendell because they make you feel like family.
For your tailored experience, come see us at Wendell at the Y or Wendell.com.
What happens when you pay your ABC membership?
We're glad you asked.
We educate the future workforce.
We keep you safe.
Negotiate the best insurance rates.
Organize networking events.
Implement 401k programs.
To keep our members open shop.
Offer discounts to make you profitable.
Each path to success is different.
But they all start and go through ABC.
We are ABC, Associated Builders and Contractors of the Inland Pacific.
Where all the best builders and contractors locally unite.
When building a home or considering a major remodel, who are you going to choose? The Spokane Home Builders Association is an organization that works to elevate professionalism in the residential construction industry. We promote, protect, and educate for our community, building our community one home at a time. We are the Spokane Home Builders Association.
What's up, Spokane? I'm your host, Connor Sundet, here to keep you up to date on all things in our wonderful city. First, Spokane's own Winter Market is slated to start this Wednesday, November 10th, from 3 to 7 p.m. The market is set up in the Pavilion in Riverfront Park, and everyone is welcome to partake in the festivities with a $0 entrance fee. At the market, there are a variety of vendors, ranging from handcrafted gifts and local farmers' fruits and vegetables. Not only will there be a great lineup of vendors, the market is also a great opportunity to support local businesses. And don't worry, if you can't make it out this Wednesday, the market is going on every Wednesday until Christmas, so there's no rush to make it out there this Wednesday. This is the second year of the market, and there will be less strict restrictions than last year in terms of COVID protocols, so go out and enjoy the way the market was meant to be enjoyed last year. Next, head over to Spokane Convention Center from November 11th to the 13th to see the Asia Project. The Asia Project is a live poetry performance act touring across the country. The performer, who's named Asia, recites his own poetry and connects it with old and young people alike. Asia has had a past of hardship and determination, including a fight with cancer and years of no recognition. He has an uncanny ability to blend humor and human nature together to create a thought-provoking show that leaves the audience in a state of self-reflection. Asia has won numerous awards in poetry and is finally getting a chance to show it on the road. Don't miss this special chance to see a show like no other. And that's what's up, Spokane. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be right back after this.
Contact us today to learn how PowerView automation makes everyday living effortless.
Why are housing prices going up so fast in the Spokane area? Hello, I'm Darren Watkins with the Spokane Association of Realtors. It's a simple case of supply and demand. Since 2010, we have seen the number of available homes on the market fall dramatically, from 2,348 in January of 2010 to only 164 per month in 2021. That's a 94% reduction in our housing supply. The result? Housing prices began to climb rapidly in 2015, with a median home price in Spokane County of $179,000. That same home today would cost you $380,000. That is, if you can even find a home to buy.
For the last, I'd say at least 10 to 15 years, I think we've been underbuilding. We've seen this crisis coming, and nothing's being done to fix it.
There are no homes to purchase. When there is a home that comes up that buyers like, you're up against 20 plus other buyers who are making an offer on the same house.
Adding to the crisis, thousands of families are fleeing major West Coast cities such as Seattle, Portland, and Los Angeles. Among the top destinations, Spokane, Washington.
When you talk about an out-of-town buyer, they've sold that home in a coastal market, let's say, a Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, LA, take your pick, for $1.5 million, and they come to Spokane and can replace that thing and be in a nicer home for $500,000.
When there are 20 plus offers on a property that they feel like they don't have a chance. So now they're having to look at homes far lower than they're even qualified for, because they have to compete with cash deals or something that goes so much further over the list price, and it's extremely defeating for clients.
The answer is clear. We need more homes immediately, especially for entry-level workforce housing. Every day that we wait, those costs are just going to keep going up and up.
First, join us with Kent as he talks with Larry Myers about how you can prepare for the upcoming holiday season. Take a look.
Kent Adams here. Welcome to the Pulse of Spokane, and I'm with my friend Larry Myers from River Ridge Hardware and Peters Hardware.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of exciting. We talked about that, I think, the last time.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about how prepared we should be for Christmas this year. We'll find out about the supply and the demand, is pretty tough out there right now. And we keep hearing that things won't be available. They will be available. We're going to zero in on all that, plus a new gimmick he found at a show recently, next on the Pulse of Spokane.
Spokane Realtors are dedicated to helping you find the right place to live. We're more than 2,000 strong, small business men and women guiding you through this most important purchase. We're also your neighbors, giving back thousands in volunteer hours to make our community a better place. We believe owning a home helps you live longer, with stronger families and better neighborhoods. That's who we are, ready to help you find your way home. Call one today.
Larry Myers, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Yeah, busy.
Kind of busy? It wouldn't be because you doubled your stores, would it?
Right.
One out in the valley. It's Peters Hardware now,
Yeah,
right?
Peters Hardware, one of the oldest hardware
continues.
stores in Spokane. So
yeah. I love how you grab on to these notable hardware stores that come with a good reputation to start with, and then you only add that with your staff, because I've met and worked with some of your staff, and you've got great people. Yeah. How about the staff out at Peters? Good?
Oh, great. Yeah, they match my staff. They're very customer service oriented. Yeah. They're willing to grab you at the door and help you find whatever you're doing, and so in terms of, you save so much time just coming to a small hardware store like ours. And in terms of trying to find parking in the big ones, so
and there's no silly questions, right?
No, any questions. We're always happy to, and it's fun to hear some funky things that people are doing. From I even made a really cool lamp out of black iron for my wife.
Yes, I saw that in your office last time I was at your store.
Yeah, and so a lot of times, it's fun to see what people are doing. We had a guy making a dragon, and it is for his backyard, and he was constantly buying different parts from.
So he was coming in for dragon parts.
Yes, exactly. So it's fun to see what the DIYers are doing out there.
I don't know how many people know that you're a sponsor on our programs and so forth, and I get people who tell me, I love their store, and they were talking about River Ridge.
Sure.
And I'm getting the same thing for Peter's Hardware.
Yeah, great.
So
it has a great reputation. Anybody who grew up in the valley, and we're just trying to get the word more out there in terms of, hey, if you remember coming to us, come to us again. See what you're looking for, and we can help you find it.
And you're almost done with your remodel, right?
Well, we're getting there. We're waiting for our gondolas, who are supposed to. Gondolas are the shelving that come.
I was picturing this thing you get on and ride.
Exactly. I'm not sure why they're called gondolas, but they are. And they're the racks that hold all our merchandise, and we're almost doubling those in size. And they're coming from Texas, and they're looking for a truck driver, like all those guys out there. So, hey, if you thought about getting back into trucking, this would be a good time.
Yes. Well, remind me, we've got a sponsor who does trucking, and maybe he can help too. So.
There you go.
All right. Okay. So let's get serious, because folks, all of us are hearing on the news and in the newspaper and so forth that there's this slow supply of everything for Christmas, that it's parked out in the Pacific Ocean and so forth. First of all, we I think all want to start buying as much American as we can, but the reality is things do come from other countries, and we want to continue that. Where are we? What should people be doing right now? And I'm thinking we're 3 weeks away from Thanksgiving, and we're 6 or 7 weeks away from Christmas, and should we wait for those supplies to come in?
Well, if I was anybody right now, if you're thinking about buying a turkey, buy it now.
Yeah.
It's still going to be frozen, and unless you buy fresh, then you might want to be feeding it right now.
Yeah.
So
really fresh,
right?
I love it.
Otherwise, if you can get it now, and especially with Christmas, we're set up for Christmas, and I know it's kind of. I always cringe when you see one of these big stores that they start setting up for Christmas,
right after Labor Day.
Yeah, or 4th of July. But we set up for Christmas. We try to make sure that we're set up, right after Halloween, and we're set up. We have lights. Hopefully we're getting more lights. But if you want to change your decorations and do some fun stuff, look for it now, because you'll be able to get it now.
Yeah.
Come 2 weeks before Christmas, or if you wait till the day after Thanksgiving, I have a feeling they're not going to be out there. And we have suppliers that are getting supplies, shipping them out to us as fast as they get them, but they're still getting supplies into their warehouse.
Right.
And we have orders out there, and they're shipping them. A perfect example of this, I ordered cool Adirondack chairs that are made out of that synthetic wood that are put together. And we ordered them in 2020, October, and I just got them last week. So, and they're for our garden center, which is now torn down. So we'll be ready for the spring. So if you're looking for some really cool colored Adirondack chairs, I'll have them.
Okay.
But
oh my gosh.
So that's kind of how it is right now. So if you're just looking, we're set up. We have some cool Christmas trees, even Christmas tree in terms of the real Christmas trees. Normally, I'm able to reach out to 2 suppliers, usually able to get about 100 from both suppliers. We're not a big time in that, and we were able to get some real value trees. One supplier is only giving me 65. I'm actually having to run to outside Olympia to get another 100 trees.
Wow.
And so we're going to be getting some noble firs, and I'll be doing that usually right around that Thanksgiving holiday
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get those trees so that they're there right after Thanksgiving.
Right, right.
So-
Well, and if you're going to put new types of lights up or anything like that, and you think you need 3 strands, you might get 4, because to come back and fill in, there won't be the 4th a couple weeks later, because they're going to sell out. As I remember, one of the things you guys are really known for are the unique lights, Christmas lights, the old-fashioned lights and so forth. Still have some of those?
Yeah, and we
Okay.
still have some of the real old-fashioned, the old C's 9s with the screw-in bulbs, and we
Yes.
have the replacements for those. So if you have a strand that you got from your grandparents that are still working,
Yeah.
we can get replacement lights for
Oh my
those, and those
gosh.
are fun. I have some of those outside. And we have some of the ones that bubble, and
Yes.
and yeah, we still have those, and
Boy, that sure takes some of us back, doesn't it?
Yeah. To
the old days.
And the
some of us
partridges-
here more years than others.
Right, exactly. Some of the partridge, my grandma always had some real neat partridge birds that clip to the trees.
Yes.
We sell some of those older, unique
it.
type, antique type ornaments that are hard to find.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're looking for the fun, great, neat stuff, and then we still have puzzles.
Okay.
So if you're looking for some fun family puzzles, we have them.
Okay.
From even Frozen.
Oh,
Everybody needs a Frozen puzzle.
Of course.
Sure.
Of
yeah.
course, yes.
Yeah.
My granddaughters, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah. Get the granddaughters in on doing puzzles.
Yeah. Now, you just came back, you just mentioned before we started this, that you just came back from one of the shows that you go to, because you got to keep up on what's new and coming, right?
Right, and we go to the show, so it's funny because we come out of spring and then we go to a show that is for summer.
Yes.
So, and then we'll be going to another show in January that is for winter. So for the next year winter.
Yeah.
And so yeah, at that show we actually found it's called Simple Strap, and it is a strap that you can cut in sections.
Okay.
And believe it or not, this strap here will hold up to 580 pounds, 800 psi, and you can actually, so you could strap a canoe to the top of your, and it goes around and slips
Or your
through.
Christmas tree or anything.
Yeah, and simple to just keep in. It's called Simple Strap.
Yes.
And small local company, actually out of Hawaii, believe it or not. Some guys invented it.
Did you go over there to test it?
Exactly. Yeah. No, I wish. Yeah, they actually came to Indianapolis and probably froze while they were there.
Yeah. I'll bet.
And
This is like a rubber material, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
And probably recycled rubber.
Yeah, I would bet.
And so it kind of sticks to each other, and it always stays. And so you kind of run it around and then slip it through.
Yes.
Has a whole video on how to work it, and
Right.
on each package it has a download where you can download the video to your phone.
Right.
But just simple strap, and
It's 20 feet long.
Yeah.
So you can use it for several different things.
yes.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah, so we have plenty. We have 2 different sizes. A thicker one that I think goes up to about 800 pounds,
Oh, okay.
and then that one that's 500 and some pounds.
Right.
And super easy to use. And we have people always come and rent rental equipment from us.
Yes.
And we always say we're the highest density in literally a block radius, because everybody says, "Oh, I don't need to strap it down. I'm just going a block."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we always just say nicely to them, "Well, it's rental equipment. We just don't want it falling off or
Right.
hurting someone down the road. Let's get you a strap and get it strapped down." So this is a good option for that.
Good. Good.
To keep them safe and keep the equipment safe.
Yes. Yes. Hard to rent something if it's fallen and been run over and again. And
Exactly, or
you're
fallen
counting
and-
on that,
Yeah, hit somebody on the sidewalk, even worse. But
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. For
So-
sure. What else is new?
Just that Well, yeah, we have same great staff. We're always there to help you with.
You really do.
Yeah.
You really do. And I've never felt embarrassed to ask for help. And that's part of, I guess, how they present themselves and everything else. It's not intimidating. It's maybe I just look like I need help, but that may be good people. Good people.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good time to think about snow shovel.
Yes.
Maybe go check out your old snow shovel.
Yes.
Is it broken, or and sometimes we just put away tools and don't think about them, but
until we need them.
Yeah.
And then we're panicking. And I saw a chart the other day. The first real snowfall, like an inch of snow, is going to be usually just before or just after Thanksgiving. And traditionally in this town, we'll get a skiff of snow.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we might have gotten, if there had been some moisture in the air on Halloween, because it was certainly cold enough. But we're there, and it can turn in a couple of days, and then we're all going to be standing in line somewhere trying to buy snow shovels.
Exactly. We sell the most snow shovels on that first day. Still, just like the tire companies, the poor guys. Yeah.
Before November 1st.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So great time to look, at snow shovels. We're going to be just getting ours out.
Okay.
And we have some out now.
Yes.
But we have a real good selection of that that we pre-ordered and made sure it came in time. Probably got them in
some salt too to put on the driveway and all that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
We're well stocked and all the ice melt and everything. Yeah.
Because all of a sudden,
Yep.
you'll know and we'll know a day or so before, but most of us don't believe it until we see it.
Exactly.
And then it's slipping and sliding to get somewhere.
Well, yeah, and you got to leave your house to go get ice melt.
Yeah.
And where did I put my snow shovel?
Yeah.
And
So stock up now.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And you have all of this at both stores?
I do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Great.
Yeah, we are well supplied.
Good.
So.
That's good. Well, Larry, good to see you, and thank you for bringing good news and good people to deal with when you walk into a store.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that, we go often into the big ones out there, and we don't get the service and the care that you get at River Ridge Hardware and Peter's Hardware. Yeah.
And Peter's Hardware is located off Pines, turn on First.
Yes.
And so corner of Pines and Sprague, really, but you come in off of First.
Okay, you come in the back alley, kind of.
Yeah, come in and park in the back there.
Okay.
River Ridge Hardware, of course, is on the corner of Garland and Driscoll,
Right.
2803 West Garland. So.
Right, right. And more people that I know that live up there in that area and Shadle area and so forth. Oh, I go there all the time. So
yeah. We're very fortunate. We get even some South Hill people that come down and just because we have certain things that they are looking for and easy to find. So.
And you still deliver, right?
We do. We'll deliver, in a mile radius for people that it's hard for them to get out.
Right, right.
And we like to at a $25 minimum purchase.
Right, right.
Of something.
Let's be fair, folks. With
Yeah, we'll deliver. But
great.
we're
right.
happy to help.
River Ridge Hardware and Peter's Hardware. I want to always shorten that for some reason.
RiverRidgeHardware.com and Peter's Hardware. I think it's also .com. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
I was selling drugs. I was in and out of prisons. I didn't know how to read or write. I couldn't even read the sign at UGM that said, "Hope starts here." Union Gospel Mission taught me to trust people. I have a job from learning to read. I never thought that I would find a community that would support me like UGM does. I am so grateful to God. Real change is possible. Union Gospel Mission.
Starting a digging project? Before you reach for the shovel, you must click callbeforeyoudig.org, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. Protect our buried utilities and click callbeforeyoudig.org.
Next, join us for a clip from the locker room, where Andrew and Justin talk all things sports, including World Series and football. Check it out.
All right, let's move on because we could talk about that forever.
Congrats to the Atlanta Braves for being America's team and taking down America's least favorite team, the Houston Astros.
Right. It was meant to be. Everything is right in the world outside of the Mariners not making the playoffs. Everything else is right in the world.
Yep.
And the Seahawks not playing very well. Actually, they're playing a lot better, but still, it's sad to see them with a bad record.
They played one good game against a really bad team.
They'll be fine. All right, so sticking on the baseball front, Kyle Seager was officially released from his contract. He had a team option for 2021. That did not get picked up. Kyle Seager as a Mariner is no more. As expected, after his farewell game in Game 162, it just happened that this was the official day, was 2 days ago on Monday. A lot of things happened that day, a lot of kind of false / I would say inadequate reporting as far as how he was released. Initially, Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times said that Kyle Seager was not even given a phone call. It was all done over email, which in fact ended up not being the case. It's that Kyle Seager doesn't like to answer his phone. And that ended up meaning that Justin, I'm not going to remember his last name, essentially the associate general manager, had to reach out to Kyle Seager's agent saying, hey, so it's not working out anymore. A nice little breakup call. So essentially, probably what should have happened and unfortunately had to happen, but Kyle Seager's reign as the Mariners' third baseman is over. The weirdest part will be seeing him in another uniform because he's going to get picked up. He had 35, almost 40 home runs, or he did have 40, and over 100 RBIs. Still played solid defense at third. Probably fits better in the AL just so that he can DH here and there. Won't be as weird as seeing Felix in another jersey just because he was with the Mariners longer, but I think Seager will be more productive in another team's jersey than Felix ever was.
Yeah, it seems like Kyle's got a little bit more left in the tank than Felix ever did.
Yeah, I think Seager could be a decent contributor on like a playoff team.
Yeah, totally.
Third base market is pretty weak outside of Chris Bryant, who the Mariners will be taking a look at, which reports, did you see this?
Yeah, right.
Did you see the Mariners were like the second team if he didn't get traded to the Giants? The Mariners were the other team that was seriously invested in potentially trading for him at the deadline. Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, that would be wild. It's kind of hard for me to imagine that they'd be able to get a name like that.
So, okay, that was my thinking initially, and then I thought about it a little bit more. Two things work in the Mariners' favor. One, they're actually good, should be good. There's obviously a lot of question marks, but a lot of the question marks are kind of bookended by a lot of potential. And two, there's no income tax. If they can sell the fact that, hey, we're going to be good, players will make millions of dollars more just by wearing a Mariners jersey. The fact that I feel like if I was a baseball player, I would want to play for the Mariners right now.
Am I missing something? Are you joking?
Which part?
There's no income tax?
Yeah. You don't in the state.
I think I'm an idiot.
On a state level, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we still have federal taxes, and you still have.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Sorry.
So yeah, that's why. But what's crazy, and this is a kind of a little bit of an aside. If the Mariners travel to the state of New York or California or wherever there's an income tax, they actually have to tax their income for the games that they play in those states.
I do remember hearing that a few years ago, and it's so dumb. It's so stupid.
That would be like I'm trying to think here. That would be like, well, I guess this kind of makes sense now that you kind of put it this way. But that would be like someone who's no, it doesn't. This doesn't make sense whatsoever. That would be like a salesperson who works in the state of Washington, who travels across state lines to go and sell some. Actually, I don't know if it works this way. I just know that the big states, Washington New York and California, does work this way. I feel like Idaho wouldn't be a state that would charge you income tax.
I would not think
for
so.
crossing. So maybe that doesn't work. But I just feel like the Mariners are actually an enticing place to play. You'd think. And Seattle as a big city is comparably bad as far as things that happen inside of that city as other cities, right? Like they're not any worse, they're not any better, but they're not any worse. Like San Francisco, New York,
Los
LA,
Angeles.
like there's a lot of really good Chicago. like you don't. I don't know. It just seems like a logical place that people would want to. Yeah, they don't.
Chicago sounds better than LA these days, honestly.
Almost, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of rain, yes, but if you can handle some cloudiness, we'd love to have you. There's my pitch. We'd love to have you.
Incredible.
We'd love to have you. So Mariners are going to be looking for an impact pitcher and an impact hitter there, but that also depends on the work stoppage. There could be a work stoppage in baseball for the first time in a while. So I think that ends here in a couple weeks, the current CBA. They are trying to come up with a new one, but I don't know if that'll happen.
I'm sure old Manfred will
good old Paul.
Execute Paul. Rob?
That's funny. Paul Manfred is the athletic director at Prep.
Yes.
So you can see how those are pretty similar things.
I could, yeah.
Pretty similar things. All right. The last thing that I want to talk about outside of picks, probably not actually, but Zags are the first exhibition on Sunday. I actually wasn't able to watch because it's on SWX and my parents have DirecTV, and I was over at my parents watching the Seahawks game. So I wasn't able to watch them. So thanks. I love the fact that DirecTV doesn't have SWX, and I don't know
why does anybody ever get DirecTV? Nobody that has DirecTV ever sings any praises of it.
Hey,
everybody just bitches about it.
Hey, wait, that I loved. Well, actually, I really like DirecTV. What do you want?
It's because they have Dish, and then Dish raises the prices, and they go DirecTV's cheaper. They go to DirecTV, and then DirecTV raises the prices, and they go back to Dish. It's a never-ending cycle.
Why don't people just get Xfinity? What is the deal? Why
because
are people deterred?
I'll tell you a couple things here.
Okay.
So my first thought on this entire subject, Dish sucks. Dish is far and away the worst of the big three.
I work for Dish.
Really? Yeah, I can see why they're so bad. No, but actually, Dish sucks comparatively.
Okay.
They have no root sports. They have no. What's the other thing they don't have? They have something else that's really big that they don't have.
Nice.
Also, their reliability is lower as far as the satellite companies go. But you do go with DirecTV because you get Sunday Ticket. You have the option to buy Sunday Ticket. Also at the time, nice, really dishing it out today. Hey, man, somebody named Courtney is hopping on our comments.
Does she have a friend?
Nice. That's what we heard. Xfinity. So do you want to know why my parents switched from Xfinity? This is essentially why I want to talk about it. So my parents were paying like $10 a month for TV from like the original like 1998 contract they signed.
Okay.
They completely forgot about like my parents only paying like $10 a month for like 150 channels. It was like a killer deal. All of a sudden, they started charging my parents like 50, 60, 70, however much money. And my dad said, hate them, screw them, and then left. And it's like, well, Dad, like it's they're charging you what they're supposed to be charging you now. So they've been with DirecTV ever since, but they just have a lot of perks. I liked their customer service better than I liked Xfinity's at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But DirecTV is going to lose Sunday Ticket, and when that happens, bad news bears.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the NFL. I mean, Amazon
has Thursday night, which is crazy. The fact, and we're going to stick with TV here, the fact that the Pac-12 network isn't on DirecTV is a crime.
My dad hated that.
Do you want to know why it's a crime? Bars buy DirecTV 90% of the time, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nice, dude.
Sure.
Not even watching my show. I'm gonna answer this.
Is that Josh?
Hey, dude. Hey, man. I'm kind of on my show right now. Yeah. Nice.
Wow, you could hear him backpedaling. He's like, oh.
He says he's watching us live, and he still called me.
Wow.
Ballsy.
Damn. All right. What's up?
It was vibrating, yeah. But that's it.
Toss him on speaker.
I can't. That's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game to put him on speaker. Okay. Yeah, thanks, man. Big fan of the show. For long-time listener, first-time caller.
See, we should just field calls on our cell phones.
We could do that.
Yeah, I mean, we could. What's stopping us?
All right. This actually gave us a really good idea. We might take calls in the future just through our phones and actually talk like not how we normally talk. And like, does this get picked up, Sam? Start talking a little bit.
Oh, you want me to just start talking like this?
Yeah. Like decently clear?
Yeah. Is it fine?
All right. Okay.
We'll consider this a test. I'll call back next week.
All right. Deal. Okay.
Sounds good.
This has been a weird episode.
Yeah, it really has been.
So why in God's name, with DirecTV being 90% of bars right now, because of the fact that they have Sunday Ticket and they can get every single game, why would the Pac-12 network not get a deal with DirecTV, which controls most of the bar scenes? That is completely asinine.
Was that a Larry Scott thing?
Oh, it has to be. Larry Scott was trash and horrible. I don't know how the new commissioner's doing right now, but
I mean, the Pac-12 is still a laughingstock.
Still sucks. But Oregon is before the college football rankings.
That's so wrong.
Oh,
that's so wrong.
It's horribly
Dude, I've watched multiple of their games, including the one in which they lost to Stanford. I'm like, this team's not that great.
This team's not. They're the best team in the pack for sure, but they're not.
Sure,
that's not college
saying
football
anything.
playoff.
And I guarantee they're going to lose again.
By the way,
I don't think they're going to make it through the rest of the season.
I'm going to a wedding. My buddy does a part-time DJ thing on the side. And so he has some friends from WSU who asked if they could DJ for a wedding. He then asked me if I wanted to come to this wedding as like an assistant DJ just for fun. And I said yes.
DJ Reed?
I guess so, pretty much. Yeah, that's what we're going to go with. So the wedding is in Poulsbo at the Poulsbo by the school. This guy's a West Coast guy.
Wow.
Anyway, we're staying at the Squamish Clearwater Casino, and they have a sports book there. I've never sports bet, and that's super dangerous.
Yo, let's go. That's exciting.
Yeah.
No.
Do you want
take it for a spin?
I'll be your bookie this week.
Play some bets for me.
Yeah. Let me know. Actually.
Oh man, that's super exciting because I've been trying to get in on this.
I know. I'm super pumped. So by the way, the bet that you should take, and me and my buddy Tim have been talking about this. Oregon plays UW this weekend.
Yep.
It's the line is 6.5. Oregon is going to absolutely
obliterate.
Oh, they're going to torch the Dogs. There's not a chance they can cover that. Not a chance. I'm taking the over on that 30 times out of 30. I'm pumped to sports bet. It's dangerous.
Sorry. You're taking the over or you're taking the Ducks?
I'm taking the over.
Minus 6.5.
I'm taking the over.
Okay.
That they're going to, they will beat that.
Correct. So you're taking the Ducks.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
We still have to, okay, I think, do you have everything ironed out as far as point spreads go and just like the way that it works?
I understand the over-under. I understand the spread. And I know you can take, obviously, either side. You can just take it straight up. You could do whatever.
Right. Okay.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
So, but essentially.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm really pumped. Super dangerous. I'm worried about what sort of money is going to be flying.
Very dangerous. Just look for value. That's all I can tell you. Look for value.
Be safe with it. So that's happening Saturday morning. We're going to do bets. The wedding Saturday night. And then I think Sunday we're going to bet NFL games.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're have some nice brunch.
That's going to be a fun weekend, man.
Yeah, I'm more excited about the sports betting
than the wedding or the DJ.
No. Patrick Mahomes for Najee Harris, Craig. Oh, my.
Jesus Christ, Craig.
Horrible. Give me someone else. I'm not going to. Mahomes. The problem is Mahomes is having a few bad weeks, so that's my issue right now. Plus, I don't even have another quarterback. Tua is my other quarterback right now, and Taysom Hill's on the bench.
Whoa.
Because of Russell Wilson being out.
Whoa.
It's a two QB league, so you really scrape the bottom of the barrel when you have an injury or a bye.
Okay.
So Zach's played Sunday, first exhibition game. Brian Michelson was on the bench. B-Mike, really nice guy. Seemed to do a really good job, but he was interviewed post-game saying it was like a dream of his alma mater, able to come in, coach. He did a really good job. Zags obviously took care of business. I'm not going to look too much into it. It was an NAIA team that they played, so they should have won by 60 or 70, however much they won by. So we'll have more Zags talk as they actually start playing regular season games, which is coming up here in a couple weeks against Texas, which will be a sweet game. That'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's do. I don't want to do picks. We'll just do it. We'll do it for remotely again. Let's go ahead and do.
You're scared.
Bronies. No, I'm not scared. We're tied.
Scared. Huh?
I beat you last week.
You're scared.
Nope.
Okay. Am I going first?
Yes.
Okay. My jabroni is coming up here. All right, so did you see this? First of all, the Bengals lost to the greatest quarterback to ever debut in an NFL game. Mike White.
It's super unfortunate.
The GOAT.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Bengals, we all thought they were good, especially coming off that shellacking of the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
And they go in to the Meadowlands and they lay an egg. Ducks lay. You know what? That works. They laid a duck, and they're in the game. They're also up by 2 scores in the fourth quarter. And so they get they were able to get off the field right there. That tackle was made. Could you run that play just one more time?
Please.
So this was a tackle on 3rd and 11, and he was about 5-6 yards. Jesus Christ, yards short
about 5 or 6 ducks.
Anyway, so the running back lowers his head into the helmet of the defender, and the defender gets called for targeting, and a 15-yard penalty advances the drive. Jets go down. Cincinnati, game over. Anyway, the Bengals shouldn't have been in that position anyway, especially against that Jets team. I mean, their defense got eviscerated by Mike White. Yeah, that's why it's the best professional sports league on the face of the planet. But dude, these refs, man, I'm telling you, last year they were just so concerned with, hey, football's back. We need this as a country. We need this just for general happiness and well-being amongst all the NFL watchers and the sports fans alike. And they let things go. There were far less penalties. I mean, drives were able to be sustained and not derailed by holding calls or offensive linemen with hands to the face on, defensive ends and things of that nature. And this year, man, it is all come crashing back down, and it's just awful. And they just tighten it up. Just keep it in your pocket. We don't need that. But anyway,
keep it in your pants.
Keep it in your pants.
Keep that flag.
Keep that duck in your pants. And congrats to Mike White, because that's
awesome.
Cool for him.
That's very, very cool.
But yeah, so jabronis, the NFL referees, they're back. They're back.
They are back, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. My jabroni, we talked about him earlier, is going to be Henry Ruggs. He is our jabroni. So as we were talking earlier, is it something like to talk about whatever as impressive? What did we say earlier? That a
crazier week.
Oh, right, and talking about how So what he did was actually pretty bad.
Horrific.
Pretty bad overall. So he was driving top speed of 156 down Rainbow Boulevard in Vegas, and he absolutely wrecked into this car going 127 miles an hour when his airbags actually deployed. His blood test that was ran was double the legal limit. He had a loaded gun in his car, and this was the Monday after their game, Monday night after their game. I just don't understand what goes through these players' head when they do this. So that was his mugshot there. He had his court appearance even already today.
They didn't play this week.
Oh, yeah. So that doesn't make sense, but I guess at least he didn't have a game. I don't know.
I don't think there's any way that you can.
There's any way you're
rationalize
getting around that. So that was just not great for sure on his part. So he's my jabroni, because don't drive that fast drunk with a loaded gun in your car, because you kill people, and that's what he did. He killed a 23-year-old woman.
She was 23.
23. Slammed into the back of a Toyota RAV4, caught it on fire. When the paramedics got there, she was dead. She was burning alive in the car.
Jesus.
Yeah, not good. So I want to say, so what's crazy is his bail was only set at $150,000.
Wow.
It's this guy makes he was a first-round draft pick. He makes millions of dollars a year. Shocked that wasn't a little bit higher.
Even if he wasn't a first-round draft pick,
he
still is playing in the NFL.
It's the minimum that you can make.
Yeah,
at least
that's even if that's hurting the bank, that's not going to destroy him.
Yeah, nice glasses.
Oh, her dog was in the car too.
All right,
that's unfortunate.
So I'm officially against this.
Henry Ruggs' passenger was Kiara Janai Kilgo Washington of Vegas. They both were hospitalized. As you saw there, he had a neck brace on, had a cut on his nose. He owns a $1.1 million house not far away from the crash occurred. Happened at 3:40 in the morning. So his bail, he has monitoring, no alcohol, no driving, and he can't have his passport. What are you doing? Aside from everything that he did, I don't understand why you have a loaded gun in your car. That's just asking for trouble. especially for a guy like him who isn't using it for anything. Like, he's not using it. I guess he could be using it for protection, but he's not utilizing it in the way that a lot of people who support the Second Amendment be like, you should probably have a loaded gun in your car.
I don't want to make any assumptions, but it seems to be sometimes for some individuals a status thing.
Oh, it's for sure a status thing. Like, look at Frank Clark. He had a loaded Uzi in his car when he got pulled over this offseason. He's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, what goes through your mind when you put that in the back of your car and think, this is going to end well?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Everything he did that night was not very intelligent at all. Oh, my God. My buddy Joel said, when can I expect him back for my fantasy team?
That's a great question. Actually, that might be the only question that matters at this point in time.
Oh, my God.
We'll circle back.
Yeah. He was. I did. Yeah. We'll let you know next week. I did draft him on my fantasy team. Dropped him and was picked up by my buddy Eric, who then dropped him yesterday.
I would say maybe don't drop him yet.
Yeah,
that might be a little.
It's the NFL. That
might be too much of an overreaction.
The NFL Players Association has great lawyers. All right, this day in sports history, 1935. The Eagles beat the Boston Redskins 7-6. This is football, by the way. 7-6 at Fenway Park. Also, a football game at Fenway sounds sweet.
Hold on, there were Boston Redskins?
Yeah.
I never heard that before.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is, what did they say on the NFL broadcast on Monday? Or was it someone they said, I was like, really? I didn't realize that they were that before they were this. But if you look back, it's weird how many times teams switch mascots or keep mascots, switch cities. There's a lot of relocation. It doesn't happen very often today.
Well, it's interesting, too, how it happens like inner sport.
Right.
As well. It's not just, within baseball, this, and this happened, but we're like crossing the lines of various sports as well with that stuff. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Okay.
1937, Frenchman Maurice Archambaud cycles world record for distance in 1 hour. He went 46 kilometers in an hour.
It's pretty good.
That's 29 miles in an hour. He's essentially going a half a mile every minute.
It's very good.
That's very impressive, especially for the entire pace. He did that in Vigorelli, Milan, Italy. 1982, on this day, San Diego guard Randy Smith plays his 845th consecutive NBA game in a loss to Philadelphia. He passed Johnny Redker's NBA record and went on to play in 906 straight games. The reason I bring this up is nobody in the NBA does that anymore.
No.
Nobody does that. There's no such thing as an Iron Man in the NBA because they're all soft. Also on this date, in 1996, Kobe became the youngest player to ever make his NBA debut at the time. He was 18 years old, 2 months, and 11 days.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Really ridiculous that he was literally just had his 18th birthday and made his NBA appearance. Not as crazy when you think about that happens in professional soccer all the time.
All the time, yeah. That's
all
a good point.
the time. All right, closing time. What is mine? Oh, go ahead. You can go. You can do yours.
All right, ESPN, you're on the hot seat. So this is a picture of the college game day setting. Of course, the famous, it's one of ESPN's, probably still at this point, their biggest show is College Game Day. So that's a picture of them over on the right for Michigan and Michigan State versus Barstool, which just started doing this, I believe, this season, where they take their talking heads, their personalities, and they put on the exact same concept of show. And so Casey Smith, being a part of that Barstool broadcast, she took the two pictures side by side, and thoughts and prayers for the worldwide leader, which is something that a sentiment that you and I echo frequently on this show. And I chose this because also last night I was watching SportsCenter after Scott Van Pelt handed it over to, I think her name is Ashley Brewer.
Yes.
And then Stan Verrett. And Ashley Brewer, she's new. She was really struggling. It was just very evident on the broadcast that she often lost her train of thought, and she went a little long because she was trying to correct herself or trying to actually
kind of stumbling.
Yeah, stumbling, and it was tough to watch. And I mean, I can only imagine how difficult that job is, especially if you're new, and especially with the current state of how ESPN is, where you do have some of the old guard still there. I mean, she's working with Stan Verrett. Stan Verrett, of course, is an icon and original.
Yep.
And it's with every show that I really try not to watch most of them because they're awful.
It's so bad.
But it's a sad state of affairs where they are, who their talent is, what their talent
lack thereof.
Their lack thereof, but what topics or what subtopics within the greater, discussions that they're focused on. It's
that they think people care about.
It's sad. It's not even close to the first place that anybody should be going for any sort of sports media consumption or sports content or sports opinions. And then they put either Stephen A. or Mike Greenberg on every single thing possibly because
it's not good.
It's their biggest names. And
let's pop that photo back up real quick. ESPN has this virtue signaling aspect of their job now that they think people really care about. And I'm not saying you shouldn't care about it. Yet, does it need to be something that's like literally shoved down your throat and thrown in your face every single time you put on a game? No, probably not. Again, my thoughts on it, the people that you're preaching to who are watching this will never be, like, who need to hear it, aren't going to change their mind based off of what Stephen A. Smith says.
Right.
Like, it's just, it's crazy.
You're just preaching to the choir.
Right. Everyone's like, yeah, I thought that was obvious.
Yeah, it's understood. Why are we
and
suggesting
racism?
That?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that.
Right.
I'm actually pro-racism. Like, no, like, it's just, it's completely crazy. And then they spend so much more time talking about that and talking about that side of sports than the actual coverage of the sports themselves. And Barstool literally does the complete opposite and will make fun of other, entities for whatever their coverage is by showing how bad they are. Because you mentioned the lack of talent, and they literally point out at how almost embarrassing it is of some of the people that they're hiring to do. Like, there's one of the ESPN reporters for, I don't think it's the Steelers. I don't want to call out the wrong person. One of the ESPN NFL Nation reporters for one of the NFL teams. Horrible. I watched them do a TV interview, and I'm like, has this person ever been in front of a camera? Like, it was just, it's surprising. There's a reason why Barstool does very well. And then they troll people. And then they get people like ESPN, and they get other people, or at least the employees of ESPN, talking about, like, I can't believe Barstool said that. It's like, they only say that because you start talking about them. It's really not that hard of a subject to understand.
And Barstool doesn't completely avoid the more nuanced topics, especially when it comes to social stuff.
Right.
They don't completely avoid it, but what they do, they respond to it, or they talk about it the way that you and I would, which is, this is obviously not a good thing. And the fact that we're taking so much time to discuss it means that you think that more people out there exist that think that this is okay. And I just don't think that that's the case. And if it is the case, we're not associating with that brand of people. We're not entertaining what their thoughts and opinions are because they're obviously so asinine.
Right.
And so that's just something that ESPN and obviously so many news networks aside from sports, they can't figure out. And so it's just, for the most part, it's a waste of time. It's not a productive conversation because everybody that has any sort of baseline rationale and logic to them don't think that way. So, there's a reason that Barstool is absolutely ascending and are not slowing down, and then just about every other entity around it is faltering.
Right. Quick point on the Henry Ruggs thing. Hopefully he gets J.R. Smith's and Ray Lewis's lawyers. He might have a shot.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, he might have a shot at
actually
out there.
In the question of the fatalities done by Aaron Rodgers, AJ is the Bears fan, right?
Yes.
Is he dead?
No, surprisingly not.
Has Aaron Rodgers taken his soul after saying that he owned him and that he's always owned him?
Right. That was.
Is he okay?
He is doing okay.
Okay.
He's not great, but Justin Fields actually looked halfway decent last week, so that was a plus.
Yeah, without Matt Nagy at the helm. So
weird how that happens. Weird how that happens. All right, before I forget, here's another company that I like to talk about. That's Windermere. Windermere Services Mountain West proudly services over 60 Windermere offices in Eastern Washington, Idaho, Eastern Oregon, and Montana. They are all in for their local communities. At Windermere Services Mountain West, relationships are the foundation of our business, their business. Their mission is to be successful, team-oriented real estate professionals committed to exceeding expectations through exceptional customer service. They are Windermere. Windermere Services Mountain West is committed to the communities in which they live and work. They are all in for you. Windermere Services Mountain West. All right, my closing time. We will end with before that picture gets thrown up. So 20 years ago was almost 20 years ago was the release of the original Xbox as well as the first Halo. It was November 15th.
Yeah, and people, have you heard the speculation that people think 343 might move up the release date from December 8th to November 15th?
I haven't, but that
it's out there.
Well, see, the craziest thing about that too is since it's going straight to Game Pass, it's not that hard to do. It's not like they have to sneak in millions and millions of copies into GameStop and say, don't let anyone know about this. They literally just say, oh, it's November 15th. By the way, here's Halo Infinite, and everyone goes wild. They could easily do that. That's interesting.
And that would be huge for them. That would be huge. They'd be celebrated for it.
Okay, well now you kind of got my hopes up.
I know. I'm sorry.
I don't think it'll happen, but
yeah,
okay.
I'm not counting on it to
my
happen.
bad, Sam.
No, I can guarantee it's not gonna happen.
Okay. That's right. 343 employee back there. Oh, you work for Microsoft? Cool, dude.
I agree with him. I
also don't think
I would be surprised if it happened.
This far,
right.
At this point, and if they early release a game that has been delayed this long,
right,
and it sucks, Halo's dead.
Bad.
Also, on top of the fact that they're releasing without co-op multiplayer as well as Forge, and they release early, and everyone's like, wait a second. Why didn't we just wait till December and you put those in?
The only thing I could see happening is if it does release, and it's not releasing with any of that, is if they then surprise release all of that on the original release date.
So yes, that would be the only way they could do it, is if they release everything on November 15th, which they won't. But it's a cool concept. So essentially, the reason why I brought this up is because George Kittle, who I don't enjoy, he's a very talented football player, but I still don't like him, had probably one of the coolest Halloween costumes. There he is as Master Chief, and I need to figure out who she is because you asked me before the show does he have a girlfriend or
it's his wife. So he got like his Joker. He got one of his tattoos. It may have been the Master Chief or the Joker one. He got that like 8 hours before their wedding day.
Oh yes, Claire Kittle. Oh really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he was like, everybody was getting all prepared and all the festivities and all the things that come with the day of the ceremony, and he's like just been.
She looks young.
Well, I mean,
look at that. Like he guess he's only 24. I guess she doesn't look that young. You get to a point in your life, it's around this time, where you look at like NFL players who are 25 or whatever, and you're like, God, they look so young. Or like 23.
I don't like it at all.
And it's like,
I don't like
wait
it at all.
a second.
Yeah. No, I liked being younger than them. Always. Routinely younger every time that I was watching any sort of sporting event, collegiate or professional.
Right. And now you look at it and you're like, they are more impressive than I am.
Yeah,
as a human. As a human, they are doing
and that's
a lot
why we
better
sit
than
here and we talk about them.
And we talk about them.
Because that's the only thing that we can do.
All we can do. But I am playing volleyball every Thursday.
That's right. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
We're actually doing pretty well.
Yeah, so I hear.
Yeah, we're pretty impressive athletes.
Thank goodness for that.
Thank goodness. What'd you say? I did hit a ball off my face somehow.
So the ball hit you in the face?
No. So
yes.
No. So you're telling me this was an intentional move by you?
So what happened?
Hey, hit the ball with my face. You're like, hey, let me weigh my options here.
No, but I did have a dig with my chest. It was actually really weird. I'm also a big FIFA guy. I like to kick the volleyball if I can't. I don't like to dive for it. I'd rather just stick out my foot.
Okay.
So anyway, there was a play where it was a pass, and I couldn't see where the ball was at because we kind of collided a little bit, and they passed it, and they yelled, like, Reed, like, you hit it, and I didn't know where the ball was, and I literally just figured based off of where it could possibly be. I'm like, oh, it's right here. So I go to hit it, and I was off, and instead of, like, actually just passing it straight up, I passed it right into my face.
So the ball, after it made contact with your face, did not make it over the net?
Unfortunately not. But I did kick the ball over the net once, which was pretty cool. It's fun.
I need to start doing some intramural stuff so we can like stack up our sportive experiences.
It really is important. You learn a lot.
I mean, I get runs in at the gym, but that's about it.
That's not quite the same.
Dude, I hate high schoolers right now. Sorry, Warren, but oh my God, they're another breed of... not even him.
What's going on?
Oh, I'm just talking about like the types that show up to, a public gym and run fives with basketball. It's just, there is a different level of je ne sais quoi.
There's a reason why they're going to go pro and you didn't.
That's true. Yeah.
For sure. All right. Can you work Monday? Like, can you do this Monday, or like, what do we think?
I don't know. I think we should switch it up again. I like this Wednesday thing.
Ooh, that might not work.
Well, there we go. Why not?
So
What's
yeah,
going on?
sure.
I actually, I'll hear.
But yes, I'm done for the season. So
Kyler Murray did not practice today.
that's good. That's bad for him. That's too bad.
Too bad. Injuries are bad, but injuries can also be good.
That's right.
Depending on the severity and how much it impacts in a positive way my team. Exactly.
Yep.
All right, we will plan for next Monday here on the locker room. Oh, good. McWhippy fell asleep on his desk watching us. That's good to hear.
Hey.
But it is 8:30 for him. Maybe he had a rough day at work.
Maybe he already had a couple brews.
Maybe his wife came home and he decided to get into his study and just try and hide, potentially. All right, Monday, back here in the locker room. Like we said, Seattle's on a bye. The Seahawks are on a bye. Zags will play another game by then. And go Braves.
Go Braves. Braves pod.
Finally, join us with Jabriel as he talks to Tim Hinkle about United Way, a nonprofit organization that promotes health, financial stability, and education throughout our country. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, I'm Jabriel Andrade. I'm here with CEO of United Way of Spokane, Tim Hinkle. Tim, it's great to have you on the show today.
Jabriel, thank you. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome. So I just kind of want to start. How did you get involved with United Way in the first place? Your CEO, are you from Spokane, or just kind of how did you get your starts in this organization?
Well, I guess the best question is, how much time do you have?
We'll get warnings.
I actually started off my career. When I graduated college, I joined Vista and took a position as a community organizer in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and had an opportunity there to help set up 2 different neighborhood-based organizations, not-for-profits in Grand Rapids. And one thing led to another, and I started my career working with United Way in Grand Rapids. Was there for 5 years, and then went to Des Moines, Iowa with the United Way there, where I led all the fundraising efforts and marketing and those kinds of things. And then 14 years ago, had the opportunity to come to Spokane as the CEO, and I've loved every minute of it.
Yeah, that's great. So United Way, it's a huge, it's a national organization.
Yeah.
My kind of question is, at the local level of Spokane, what kind of goes on in United Way? It's kind of, it's very general, you guys do a lot. So I just kind of see, what are the specific things you guys have been doing in the city? You've been here for a long time.
Sure. So probably the best way to understand it is a great point to lift up. It is a national entity. This is a local operation, locally run and operated by volunteers, people in this community. So we're kind of like a franchise, if you will. And so what happens here in Spokane is really based upon what the needs are, the interests, the goals that this community has. Specifically here, what we've, if you will, focused our attention on is what can we do to make sure that we can improve life outcomes for everyone. And more specifically then, what kinds of things can we do to make sure that young people, students, are successful in life? And that really begins by getting them through school, high school successfully, and then on to some sort of post-secondary work, whatever that might be, whether or not it's college or other kinds of trade work that they can get into. We also really focus in on improving financial stability for households and families in this community. Roughly 37% of families here in Spokane County are candidly really struggling day to day to make ends meet. And there's a lot of information that I can share in regard to that. And then the third thing that we're really focused in on is the levels of abuse and neglect that exist in Spokane County that are much greater and unfortunately much higher than they are across the state. And there's really an intersection of all three of those things that if you can, if you will, create a stable home, secure income, good education, those kinds of other issues tend to fall aside. And so that's really the broader focus of the kinds of things that we're working on here in the community.
Yeah, those things, they very much are kind of intrinsically linked. And,
yeah.
I guess the question is, like, are there certain programs you guys do or certain things you fund that, to, like, in specifics that help out in these three areas? Or
Sure. So specifically, we facilitate and run a community-based campaign every fall. We're in the middle of it right now, doing that primarily in workplaces throughout the community, and individuals have the opportunity to make a contribution. And then we obviously use that resource to help provide a lot of services in the community. So with that and other grants and other kinds of resources that we bring in, allows us to do a number of things. We fund 30 different organizations here in the community, from SNAP to the Boys and Girls Club to the American Indian Community Center. I mean, there's just a whole host of different organizations that we fund. In addition to that, then there are other kinds of services that we're able to provide support to through grants and other kinds of things. There's a network called 211. You don't know where to turn to for help. You can dial that number 211, and that's, again, supported by your contributions to United Way. We also do things like provide free tax prep. In fact, we've used GU students that provide that volunteer support to us, and then those individuals are assisted. We also have 2 staff people that are embedded in the city of Spokane, and there are 2 grant funds that we have to address the issues of youth and young adult homelessness, and also for veterans and chronic adult homeless. And specifically, our staff is working in the city with the city staff on a variety of things that candidly are, in fact, reducing the number of youth and young adults, and the same thing is happening now with veterans and some of the chronic homeless on the same pathway. So there's just a variety of things that we're involved with throughout the community. Probably the best way to see that or think about it is, how can we connect, collaborate, align efforts here in the community? And I'd kind of fall back to the COVID crisis that we've all been through. So we worked very closely with the Novia Foundation, with Empire Health Foundation, and other local foundations and regional foundations, and collected resources for the community, but then were distributed out through a variety of networks and ways in which to specifically address households, individuals, circumstances where people were either left behind or kind of not necessarily fitting into other spaces. So again, it's trying to look at that broad base. What does this community need?
Yeah, and I guess kind of when you're working with nonprofits, you could kind of see the best in people throughout the community. So
Sure.
just kind of question, like, has it been like uplifting seeing, and you're working with all these foundations, and you said like 37% of Spokane is struggling. So is it kind of, what is it like seeing these people kind of come together to help those in need? Like, has Spokane surprised you? Has it just been like more than you expected? Because you've been here for a while, and have you seen like the community come together a lot, especially with COVID just happening last year? How was that experience?
Yeah. So that's one of the cool things about Spokane. I've only been here 14 years. But we get things done, and we care about one another. And honestly, the COVID crisis would have been one of those circumstances where people did come together and say, what is it that we can do? And either made a contribution, volunteered, you name it, and just kind of run down the list of different things that people did as a result of that. That's kind of who we are. It's the fabric of what we do, and it is, in fact, what keeps me going every day. Now, could we, should we, could we do more? You bet, and I'd love to, and that's really the opportunity for these kinds of conversations to hopefully inspire people. Well, I don't know where to go, what to do, and that's really the role that we want to be able to try and lend people a hand, if you will, to point them to the kinds of things that are meaningful to them.
And so you talked about contributions. That one's kind of, it's very said and done, like you contribute money. If someone were to, come up and say, I'd love to volunteer,
Yeah.
what would the options they have to be? Where could they be sent?
Yeah.
What would they be able to do under United Way?
That's a great question. So one of the things, you go to our website, unitedwayspokane.org, and on there, I think it's the upper right-hand corner, it says donate and volunteer. Click on that click on the donate one, but click to your question, click on the volunteer one, and it'll take you to a spot on our webpage, the Volunteer Spokane. And there are literally, I think, around 350 to 370 different agencies that have listed off short-term, long-term, one-time groups, family events, whatever it might be, things where they have some kind of a need. And you can go in and register on that site and say, hey, I'm interested in these kinds of activities or these kinds of issues. And you'll get notices then from organizations that fit your profile at that stage. And so there's a way that you can, again, go out and see what's out there, but also register, and you'll get notices as things pop up for you from time to time. So that's kind of the I'll call it somewhat of a passive way. I would encourage you, your colleagues, your friends at school, other people that you're working with, think of things that are interesting to you. Reach out to us, and we can figure out a way if we can get you connected with an organization that is kind of doing some of the things that you're interested in. There's lots of different ways for that to happen, and somebody's time is honestly as valuable as making a contribution. The two of those things together have a huge impact.
That's great. And I guess so. You mentioned those three things. You mentioned schools, you mentioned poverty, you mentioned abuse.
Yeah.
The one that's kind of like is just jumping out to me is, how does helping or how do you help people who or households that have abuse in them? That's such a very hard, it's hard to tiptoe around. It's hard to deal with that, especially when a lot of those situations, people are kind of stuck in it and they feel like they can't get out of it. So kind of how do you guys help through that? What organizations do you usually go to?
Sure. It's a great inquiry here for you. And first of all, one of the organizations and resources that we fund, again, is the Domestic Violence Center at the YWCA, a great organization doing terrific work. Get out of that space, and that's available as a result of investments that people are making here in this community that we then in turn turn over to the YW to make sure that resource is available. At the same time, then there is counseling and other kinds of support and guidance for those individuals that are facing those situations. There are a variety of other organizations that we're funding and providing assistance to, from Transitions to Refugee Connections and a number of other ones that, again, there's a whole host of issues. And I guess kind of to your question, oftentimes what happens with individuals, there's a specific symptom, but there's really a series of other things behind that's created that circumstance. So what kinds of, I'll call it, more complete service and assistance can be provided? And that's really the place where we're trying to look at that in terms of those investments. Same thing is true with that kids and adults that are struggling with substance abuses. So through Lutheran Community Services and other organizations like that we're funding, Frontier Behavioral Health counseling efforts are all available. And those are the kinds of things that you and I are supporting with our contributions. In fact, we're helping to provide support to school counselors out in East Valley. So again, trying to connect in the place where, in some instances, those kids are really facing those circumstances today.
Yeah, and you mentioned school counselors. Kind of on the subject of schools, it's hard. Like, America public school. There's a whole lot wrong and right. So, and you've mentioned that you want to help kids get through high school. You want to help them with secondary education. Right. What does that kind of look like? Are you, is it like backpack drives? Is it provide technology? What are kind of the examples of that?
Sure. So there's a variety of ways that occurs. I'll give you a specific example. One of the organizations we fund is Communities in Schools. And they have site coordinators that are, again, embedded at the schools. And they work with the most vulnerable kids in those schools. And really what they're doing is sometimes just serving as that caring adult. But at the same time, they're also being able to provide food to them if they need it. There may be some clothing that they may need, the backpack that you mentioned, that sort of thing. But more often than not, it's just that human connection to here's what's going on. How can we lend a hand for you? We provide assistance to the Boys and Girls Club, as I mentioned. And so they've got their clubs that exist, and they coordinate their time and efforts with the folks at Communities in Schools, as an example. So again, there's just a variety of ways where we're trying to plug in school and out of school to make sure that then those students are surrounded and supported in the best way possible.
That's great. And it's just kind of on the topic of the community, like, I don't know if you have this information, but how many volunteers, how much donations? Like, I know you probably, but like, is it a huge outpouring? You've been here for a while. Like,
yeah.
So what's kind of the scope of this? Because I'm sure people would love to hear just how much good you guys are doing throughout.
Sure. So monetarily, we raised roughly $3 million on the annual campaign that I referenced there for you earlier. In addition to that, there's about another $1 million that we're able to bring in through grants and a variety of other ways over the course of the year, again, leveraging that resource. So that is the kind of financial resource that's there. The volunteer side of it, candidly, is a little harder to measure, but we do a number of different things. For example, for the last several years, we've worked with the City of Spokane and the Mayor's office to initiate something over the course of the month of April called Spokane Gives. And I can tell you that I think it's been in excess of 1,000 to 2,000 people that have been involved in some sort of a volunteer project over the course of that month. And then you can actually assign a dollar value to that time, and it turns into the several millions of dollars in relationship to a monetary value for what's being contributed by that volunteer time, let alone the work that's being done at different organizations. And that's just one event, if you will, that happens over, or a series of events that happens over the month of April. That happens year round. So again, it gets multiplied over and over again.
Yeah. And you mentioned the kind of fall drive that you're having that's currently going on. Can you go more in depth what that is?
Sure. So we've been blessed with the opportunity, honestly, for companies, all the different organizations, companies here in Washington, Trust, Vista, to any of the other companies you can think of here in the community, allow us to come in and oftentimes make a presentation to their employees, and also provide their employees with the opportunity to make a payroll deduction gift, $5, $10, $1,500 out of each one of their checks, whatever they'd be willing to do. And then the company itself oftentimes will either match that gift or make a separate contribution of its own. So that's really been the largest part of what our work is and the revenue generation. But there have been a number of different kinds of events that are held from time to time, and other kinds of grant opportunities that kind of come our way. But that fall drive is something that is pretty concentrated. We run a campaign amongst the city staff, in fact, I just made a presentation to them yesterday, all the public schools in the community, that sort of thing. So again, it's trying to reach out to as many people as possible and use the benefit, the ease of someone being able to make a payroll gift on an ongoing basis. In fact, I had the great opportunity to go make a presentation to the team members at one of the Arby's here in town here a couple of weeks ago. So
that's great. And honestly, that just all of the things you guys are doing has been, it just sounds so great. It's giving back to this community.
Mm-hmm.
So last question is, where can they find you? You know, where can people, you mentioned your website, is there any other places that you'd like to just kind of plug and tell people to go to if they want to give and help out?
Sure. UnitedWaySpokane.org, that's the best place to go. There's all kinds of information on there. Like I said, there's that donate button and that volunteer button at the top of that site. But more importantly, take a look around what's there. And honestly, if someone's got questions, send us an email, give us a call. And we'll be happy to lend a hand, point you or whomever in whatever direction they'd like to go.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope that, people who haven't known about this organization know, and that hopefully they're pushed to help out in their own way. Thank you so much.
Super. Jabriel, thank you. Appreciate the time here with you today.
All right. Have a great one.
All right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all from us. Tune in each Friday for more of The Pulse. We hope to see you soon, and until then, feel free to binge all of our content on YouTube or Facebook. Stay safe, and goodbye for now.